What's up, everybody? This is Joshy Red from Practical Theism, doing a daily gospel reflection. It is now Wednesday. I think we're officially 2 weeks into Lent since Ash Wednesday. Anyways, reflection from the gospel today. Today's gospel passage focuses on Jesus and the woman coming up to Jesus and requesting that Jesus place her sons at the right and left hand in heaven, in the kingdom. And Jesus says no, in a very, very nice way. He says, can they drink from the cup with which I'm about to drink? And that, no doubt, I think, kind of alluding to his sacrifice on the cross. And they say, yes, we can. And he says, well, look, you're going to drink from the cup. How must that have gone over, right? I mean, if they really understood, I wonder if they really understood what he was getting at, but and it boiling down to martyrdom. But he says, yes, you will drink of the cup, but it's not, that position of sitting at the right and the left is not mine to give. But I think this also gets at a very fundamental and pointed direction of one of the problems with the human condition in terms of God, and how we have a tendency to put God in a box, and we make God into whatever we want God to be made. We use God as a tool of manipulation. We look at Jesus sometimes, and he's a tool of manipulation, something that we can use to better our lives, as opposed to what Christ is really calling us to, and that's to give our lives. Our life increases in the measure that we give it away, and we don't do that if we're looking at everyone else in the world, all of creation. We're looking at Jesus, we're looking at God as tools of manipulation to help somehow engineer our life into something the way that we want it to be. If there's anything that God comes at consistently throughout Scripture, it's this call back to proper focus and attention on Him and proper balance in your life. And that's what God ultimately wants to bring into our life. He wants to break into our life, enter into our disfigured humanity, in which we are completely opposite and inverted of what He really intended for us. And He wants to get us back into right order, into right worship, right? And so you look at even the Old Testament readings from Jeremiah, and there's this constant focus on God, like, save me, and going through persecution and enduring persecution in this life, understanding that ultimately God will prevail. God, who is love, who is goodness itself, always will prevail. And flashing back to the gospel reading, it's God makes kind of it says it in a different way. There's obviously the passage of, those who lose their life for my sake will save it. But those who, you'll lose your life if you don't, right? Who are hoping to save their life for their own sake. But he focuses pretty heavily back to that kind of idea of the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. And if you recall the passage from Philippians the other day about being imitators and how we are innately imitators of something and of someone, God is calling us, Jesus is calling us to imitate Him all the way to the cross, to live a life of self-sacrifice, to love God and love neighbor, the two great commandments, right? And we cannot do that if we are focused on ourselves. And this is so tough in America today. We deal with this all the time. My wife and I we were just having a conversation about this. We deal with this all the time, especially with kind of the keeping up with the Joneses mentality that we have in America, the hustle bustle of daily life. And we deal with it too. I'll throw this out on the table. We deal with it too. We have so much ambition and kind of goals and so many things that we want to do and accomplish in life. And in the measure, I always, we go through life and we focus on those things, and then it pulls us away from what really ultimately is going to fulfill us, and ultimately what is going to transform us through the life of grace, and that is serving others. Our primary ministry right now is our family, and in the measure that work and jobs and ambition takes us away from keeping that in balance, we're going to feel an imbalance. And so a lot of it, I feel God's pruning us personally to reshape our expectation of ourselves, and our expectation of others, and our expectation of what we should have and what we should need necessarily in this life. And not to say that money, wealth, power, pleasure, all that stuff is bad. Those are good in their own right. But out of balance, when those become the ultimate focus and direction of your life, you lose your life in a very, very real sense. You lose your sense of balance, of stability, of internal peace. And you lose ultimately a focus on the one who created all those things. And in doing that, you build yourself up to become effectively your own God. And God becomes a tool of manipulation. So that's exactly what I think we need to avoid. And that's exactly the direction that the cross is showing us. It's showing us the true life of alignment with God is one of self-sacrifice. What looks like a bloody cross to us is actually an ultimate gift of love, of giving your life for your neighbor. No greater love is this than a man give his life for his friend. So anyways, just a few thoughts, throwing them down. If you like it, hit the like button, pound the subscribe button like you mean it so you can get more of this awesome content. And I hope you guys have a great day. Until next time, thanks.